Okay, hello everybody. We're back again. We're going to start the interview with Brandon right away. I'm sorry for the audio difficulties. We'll get it cleared up. And so let me initiate the call to Brandon and we'll get set up and be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Good afternoon, Brandon.
Good afternoon, Don. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Coming through loud, clear,
Oh,
sir.
okay. So let me get you set up here real quick. We'll get you on the screen and we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Okay, so how are you today, Brandon? We're getting started here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Brandon Martin here. Brandon is running for Congressional District 2 and trying to get the seat back from the Democrat. And we were lucky to get Brandon to come on the show and interview with us today. So thanks, Brandon, for being here. I hope things are going well, and I hope the weather doesn't interfere with our interfere with this broadcast or the streaming. We're having some rain, but I know you guys are really getting the weather down there. So,
Well, thank you for the invitation, and it's great to be with you. And we're enjoying the rain. I tell you, I was up in Tucson earlier this week, and it was 102 degrees on the phone, and it started raining 15 minutes later, and it dropped probably 20 degrees. It was amazing. We need the rain. We need all the water we can get. So just keep the rain coming.
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the rain's wonderful. We have not gotten that much down here in the Sahuarita area, but I'm sure it'll come. It's already August, first day of August tomorrow. So this is kind of the prime window for the monsoon. So hopefully we get some more. So I wanted to start with you, Brandon, and I know there's some subjects you wanted to cover. Particularly, let's start with your campaign. Where's your campaign at now, and where is it going?
Well, the campaign's in a great position right now. We have a lot of volunteers. We have a lot of people working for us on a daily basis. So we've been setting up this campaign, reaching out to people, making the connections that we need to. We've brought in some good people from around the state to help us out. And right now we have about 5 times the amount of people working on our campaign that we had at the end of last year's campaign. So full steam ahead, and I look forward to doing some great things coming up to finish off the year strong, and then really take it to the left next year and win back this seat.
Sounds like a good plan. Glad to hear you're getting all that help. Tell us what your website is for your congressional bid.
It's BrandonMartinForCongress.com, and you can check us out on Facebook also at Brandon Martin for
And
Congress.
it's all spelled out, right? No numbers or anything like that.
No numbers.
F-O-R.
No numbers. Brandon Martin, F-O-R.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So we'll get back to that at the end of this interview and let you give it to the folks again, because I'm sure you have a donate button on that website. So we want to keep it. We want to let the folks know they can donate your campaign. So let's.
And if the good people of CD2 want that, then we welcome all the donations they want to give.
Yeah, we need to get you on that. On that Republican list. I don't know what they call it, Rising Stars or something like that. Get you some money from the national folks and get going here.
Young Guns, yeah.
Young Guns,
yeah.
Right. That's it. So, okay, let's start with, since you're so near down there where you are to the border and in the immigration, and I know you wanted to talk about that, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your immigration position?
Well, first we have to secure the border. We have to help the president in his efforts to do that. We need to build the wall, and we need to have congressmen up there. And honestly, this district deserves a congressman that's going to put border security first. And that's what I want to do for the people. We have a great sheriff here in Cochise County in Mark Daniels. He does some great things to make sure that he keeps the people here in Cochise County safe. And he has some best practices that we really need to, in my opinion, take to a more national level to secure the border. So there needs to be better talk between the different agencies, all the way from the federal down to the local county levels. And I look forward to doing that, and that will be one of the first things on the agenda as soon as I get into office.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, you're exactly right. Our congressmen, our Republican congressmen, certainly need to support the president's agenda on the border. He's really actually made some miraculous progress, although you wouldn't know it from the media. But he's got a lot of resistance from not only within Congress itself, but outside with the media and other folks. So he's doing what he can, but certainly another voice up there like you would help the situation.
We have an invasion at our border. That's what we have. We have an invasion of people coming across the border illegally, and President Trump earlier this year called it what it is. It's a crisis. It's a security crisis. It's a border crisis. And at the time, the left were dismissing him, just like you touched on. The media was dismissing it, and now that people are coming across the border in big numbers, I believe somewhere around 670,000 so far in FY19, and that was earlier this month when I checked. So we need to make sure that we stop this flow of illegal immigration.
Exactly. So, well, let's go on to another subject now. How about recently, within the past week, the president has agreed to a 2-year deal with the House and the Senate, with the majority and minority leaders. And some conservatives are kind of unhappy with the whole thing. It looks like it's most likely going to pass in the Senate anyway. But the way I look at it is it does get rid of sequester, and it does help the military a great deal in the VA. So there are a couple of pluses there, but certainly it's going to put us further in debt. So what's your feelings about it?
Well, the Congress has the power of the purse, as you well know, and even our Republican Congress that we had for the first 2 years, they passed a $1.3 trillion spending bill, omnibus bill, and whether it's the left or the right, it seems like Congress, all they want to do is spend our money. We need more people up there that are willing to do what is necessary to make sure that our country is in a good spot financially moving forward, because $22 trillion in debt and $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities can impact and hurt our country, I would say, more than any other threat that we currently face. So we need to get our spending under control. I support a 2% cut across the board to everything except Social Security. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky has put that forward. His office has done the numbers on that, and he doesn't have a lot of support on that because right now we have an out of control Congress in the Senate and the House, and we need more people who are going to look after the taxpayer money from the House of Representatives, and I want to do that.
Exactly. I think, people don't realize that you say 2% and everybody says, well, that won't make much of a difference. But, in all reality, when you take 2% out of every budget in Washington, D.C., it turns out to be a tremendous amount. And it turns out that in maybe 5 to 10 years, you can get to a balanced budget. So it's not 2% isn't a small thing. I know recently or at least a couple of years ago, a congressman from Florida, he proposed the penny plan where you cut just a penny out of everybody's budget, and out of every so much of the budget, and even that brought things down to a reasonable amount. So you're right, we need people there that will do that we can get this thing under control and still maintain the military and protect the country like we need to, and get what needs to be done down on the border. Just this week, and not to go back to a subject we already talked about, but just this week, the one of the circuit courts, I think it was the 9th, approved DOD funding for the border. So it looks like Trump's going to be able to spend that money on the border wall the way he wants to, and that's really a good thing.
We need the wall, and we need to build it as soon as possible. And we need people in Congress. We need conservative representatives in Congress to watch how the taxpayer money is spent, because that's truly a bigger security threat than is given credit for. Like I said earlier, $22 trillion in debt. The penny plan, or the 1% cut, was proposed last year. Senator Paul was pushing that as well. And again, because of the increase in spending, because of the increase in debt, we're now looking at a 2% cut. So it's only going to get worse. And within 10 years, the interest on our debt alone will become our number one expenditure. It'll pass social spending, it'll pass defense spending. If we don't get it under control, our debt will cripple us.
Yes, and I totally agree with you, Brandon. So let's talk about I know you've got a program coming up, or a panel coming up. Tell the audience about the panel and the subject, and then go in a little bit about your feelings about the Second Amendment, because I know you have a strong position on the Second Amendment.
We do. So we get our rights from God, and the Second Amendment is there to keep the government from infringing on our rights. And so in that discussion, we're going to bring in Kurt Schilling, the former Arizona Diamondbacks and Red Sox pitcher. We're bringing in Mark Walters from Armed American Radio, and Dr. A.W.R. Hawkins from Breitbart. We're going to be at the Tucson Hilton East on August the 8th. So you can go to the website, you can get in, general admission $35, and that's going to get you in there, get you in on the discussion, hear what we need to do. We have issues all over the country, even here in our great state of Arizona, and with people trying to infringe on our right to keep and bear arms. So it's a discussion that has to be had, and we have to address this, and we need all the support we can get. We need all the good conservatives, all the people that believe in rights and liberties out there, so we can talk about this and figure out where we go moving forward.
So that's just a week from tomorrow night. So I urge, and we urge folks to, sign up for that. Get over there to the, and I think that's on Broadway, isn't it, Brandon? The Hilton East.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
I think
it
it's
is.
Right over by, there's a Culver's there on Broadway, and it's right in back, sort of in back of that, just a little bit to the. I guess that would be the south of it. So, if folks get over there.
Yeah, go to BrandonMartinForCongress.com.
BrandonMartinForCongress.com.
Buy your ticket.
And get over to that event next week. It sounds like that sounds really good. I also want to mention that Brandon has been invited to the Republican Club of Green Valley, Sahuarita, to the Roundup in September. And the Roundup is usually, since last year, because the old Cow Palace got flooded out a couple of years ago. It was at the Grill and the Greens, and it's going to be the same place this year. So Brandon's invited. Kelly Ward, the AZ GOP chairman, is going to be there, and so is Justin Olson from the Corporation Commission. Justin was there last year, so we've got 3 really good people. So there's another chance for you folks to meet Brandon and talk with him. It's a really a friendly, mingling kind of atmosphere, very casual, and each of the people will get to speak. So you won't want to miss that. Tickets go on sale for that tomorrow on the RCGVS website, and you'll be receiving an email tomorrow. And we're making sure your campaign manager gets, or your scheduler gets an email too. So she'll see that tomorrow, Brandon. So we're looking forward to that.
That's great.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like?
Well, I look forward to it.
We are too. Anything else you'd like to bring up before we let you go? I know you said you had an appointment, so why don't you finish up and tell the folks anything else you'd like to say to them?
Well, we have a lot of great things coming up in the campaign. We have some big announcements that we're going to be making towards the end of the month. But coming up just here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be on Garrett Lewis at 7 a.m. on August 6th. So if you're a Garrett Lewis fan on KNST, join us. We're going to be on there on August 6th. We're going to be talking about the event at the Tucson Hilton East that takes place August 8th. Go to BrandonMartinForCongress.com. Join us. Get your voice out there. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your concerns. And if you can't make it because you already have plans, which I think a lot of you are going to get there. We've had a great response on that. But come down to the Green Valley event. I'd love to see you there. We're going to be there with Mr. Olson and Chairman Ward. So come down there. I would love to meet every one of you, hear what your concerns are. We have a lot of work to do, but I'm looking forward to getting at that task for you, and we have to take back our seat. We need to secure the border. We need to improve our national defense, and we need to cut spending. So I look forward to being your congressman, and I want to meet you. So thank you very much for having me on
you're welcome,
here.
Brandon, and we really appreciate you coming on. Let me give you a compliment too. I looked at your Facebook page today, and you're doing a good job framing Ann Kirkpatrick and her and some of the things she's doing. So keep that up. You know, they love Democrats love framing you first, and then telling folks what they're all about. And so you know you got that base covered, and that's a good thing. So you know, tell people what you're about, who you are.
Well, thank you.
We look forward to seeing you soon.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's been great. You're doing great work there in Green Valley. Keep it up, and we're going to win this election in 2020.
Brandon, thank you. We look forward to you representing us in Congress in a couple of years. So thanks very much.
All right, take care.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Brandon Martin. I hope you enjoyed that. Brandon's got, he's really got it together, and we are 100% behind him. So I think of all the CD2 candidates, he's the guy that we want, and we hope you'll go to his event next Thursday night at the Hilton East. I'm sure he'd love you to be there. BrandonMartinForCongress.com is his website, and then the roundup next month. Again, love to see you there. It's always a fun time, a fun night, very casual, very open. You really get to mingle with the candidates and talk with them. So please come if you can. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. And also, he mentioned he's going to be on with Garrett Lewis. I think he said August the 6th or 7th. So you'll want to be on the radio with him 7 o'clock in the morning. But hey, a lot of us are early risers. So and Garrett always does a good job. Okay, we're going to take a break now, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And thank you again, Brandon Martin, for joining us today. And we'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Don Woolley from Sahuarita, Arizona, your host. And we just had an interview with Brandon Martin, running for Congress in CD2. Really good interview, I think. He's going to be a great candidate. And he did well last time, but I think this time he'll probably be the nominee. So we're looking forward to that. Now I want to get back to some of the Tea Party Patriots information. And again, I started out the show and we had some problems with the volume, etc. So I want you to bear with me. I'm going to repeat this couple of things that I started out with. One of them was Patty and I were watching Life with Father last night. It's a 1947 movie with Dick Powell and Irene Dunn. It's a wonderful old movie, but the really interesting part was he gets into some political talk during the movie when he's reading the newspaper. He's mad at the mayor of New York, thinks he's a crook. So one of the things he first says is, why did God make so many dumb fools and Democrats? And we thought that was classic. We had a good laugh about that. And he also went on to say, and I'll read here a little bit, if you can't run this fine city without raising taxes every 5 minutes, you better get out. Get somebody who can run the town. He says, tell me this, are these new taxes going to be used for public improvements, or are they going to be used for graft? Are they going into graft? Answer me that honestly if you can. So, you know, it's funny reading those kind of things or seeing those kind of, or hearing those kind of things in these old movies, because you realize back then they had political battles back then about high taxes and mismanagement of cities, and it just goes on and on and on. So I thought that was really a kick, and I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm going to talk about some of the Tea Party Patriots information. This is their weekly newsletter, and they had some stuff on the newsletter that we wanted to pass on to you. This week, their call to action. Again, their original action item this week was to ask you all to call your senators again and urge them to vote against any spending increases. With the agreement that was made, which will add a 2-year spending bill, will add at least another $320 billion in spending. We still encourage you to call your elected officials and express your disappointment with this agreement. And then the other thing they called for was to support the president on social media and stick by him through all this impeachment nonsense. You know, they're going to have a hard time driving that message to the American people, because it's just a lot of foolishness, and you know, they're blinded by their hatred. So anyway, help him out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything that you use. And we urge you all to, you know, get involved. Not so much Facebook. We're not big fans of Facebook, and we don't participate in Facebook any longer. But we do. We're very active on Twitter, and you can see our Twitter name up there. And Patty has her own Twitter account, actually. So we express our views, we send out messages, we retweet, we comment on other people's tweets, and we follow the president very closely. And one of the invited speaker for the next year's Lincoln Luncheon in next February is Larry Schweikert. Larry Schweikert is a prognosticator, sort of a political guy, political guru. He lives up in the Phoenix area. He's just written a book about President Reagan. And we kind of latched onto him during the 2020 2016 elections, or 2018, I'm sorry, talking about the Congress and who was going to win and how we were going to do, and he offered a lot of insight into that. And one thing he didn't account for, though, was the tremendous voter fraud in California that took place with ballot harvesting. So, that's those things we got to watch out for. That's why we passed the law in Arizona against that, and you still got to keep your eye out for it, because because you pass laws doesn't mean somebody's not going to try to break them, and people do, especially Democrats are notorious for election fraud. So anyway, the Tea Party Patriots are having a September anniversary get-together back in D.C., and it starts on September 19th on the west lawn of the Capitol. This is kind of a big deal. They got several great speakers. They hope to include a briefing by the president on September 20th. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't, I don't know. But they're really excited about that. This is the 10-year anniversary of the Tea Party, when it first really got active because of Obamacare. And so they wanted to put something together this year. So maybe if you can make it back to D.C., go to the teapartypatriots.org website. You can probably get more information about it. Some other things going on. Some reminders. The White House has launched a tool, and I'll read you this. The Trump administration is fighting back for conservatives in danger of being wrongfully censored, shadow banned, or suspended on social media platforms. The White House launched a tool that allows citizens who suspect they have been affected to share their stories with President Trump. So it's hosted on Typeform. The tool will ask users for screenshots and links of offending content, and provides a text field where users describe the actions taken against them by the platform. A separate question points users to an extensive user agreement and makes clear that you understand this form is for information gathering only. Conservatives nationwide can share their stories with the Trump administration and stop the abuses of free speech. So that sounds like a really great thing, and we urge you to take advantage of that. And I'm going to send out this email that we got from Tea Party Patriots through the Google group as soon as I finish this stream tonight. So please look at that tool if you're using social media, and let the president know if somebody is trying to shut your free speech down. Now, I don't want you to forget about the Tea Party Patriots have a nice website, teapartypatriots.org, and you can go there and even look up the Sahuarita Tea Party, which is listed there. We're not having meetings anymore, but we're doing these weekly streams. Next week, we will have Jim O'Connor as our special guest. Jim ran for AZ GOP chairman time before last, and barely lost to Jonathan Lyons with some shenanigans during that vote, which didn't happen this time, and that's why Kelly Ward was elected. So anyway, Jim O'Connor is a veteran political guy. He knows a lot about Arizona politics, so we'll be talking with him next week. We're trying to get Representative Paul Gosar to join us either the 14th or the 21st, since he's off from Congress for 6 weeks. And toward the end of the month, we're going to have Jeff Ooch, the constitutionalist who knows the Constitution very well, has his own group up in northern Tucson, Oro Valley area. Jeff is very active in politics, and he's actually a trainer, swim instructor for the Navy SEALs, and was a tremendous swimmer for the University of Arizona. So Jeff is our guest on August 28th. So now, if Representative Gosar takes the 14th or the 21st, whichever one he doesn't pick out of those two dates, if he can make it, then we're going to have Dr. Bob Branch on the other date. And Dr. Branch ran for superintendent of schools this past election. And we would certainly like to see him run again and rid ourselves of this Kathy Hoffman. She is up to no good in the Arizona school system. So very dangerous, very radical. And it's Dr. Branch is going to talk about some of those things when he comes on. So that's our lineup for the month of August. And I have no more news today. We hope you enjoyed the interview with Brandon Martin. We really enjoyed doing this, and we hope that you folks will keep tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but that's going to happen. We're dealing with Skype, and we're dealing with streaming concerns. We're dealing with audio and video problems that crop up, and probably some of it is operator error. So anyway, thank you for joining us tonight. God bless you all. Keep up the fight, and we look forward to seeing you next week. The next program next week will be August 7th, Wednesday night, 5 o'clock. And Jim O'Connor is our guest. So see you then, folks. Take care.